Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Fletcher Brothers, and for the next few minutes, I want to talk to pastors and evangelists, full-time servants of God of all kinds. The reason? Well, that's me. For 31 years, I have had the honor and privilege of serving the Lord, pastoring, and before that, I was a PK. I was a preacher's kid. So for 56 years, I have been around the church in one way or another. And our ministry, I started a church from scratch back in the early 70s, with 3 times named one of the 50 fastest growing churches in the country. Out of that has grown our Freedom Village USA, Freedom Village Canada, which is... for those of you that might not be familiar with it, it's they call us the Boys Town of the East. We deal with teenagers and have had thousands and thousands of kids go through our facilities here. We deal with every sad thing that you can imagine that goes on with kids' lives, abused and drugs and crime and abandoned and you name it, we deal with it. And out of that, of course, has grown a lot of other ministry. We have the radio ministry and the television ministry. And I say all that to say this. I come in contact every day with pastors all over America and Canada. And God has privileged me over the last many years. I want to think about it. Somebody said, you've been pastoring over 3 decades. I said, that's an ugly way to put it. So I'll just stick with over 31 years. But seriously, I have... I've been privileged to be a pastor to pastors, and I hear from a lot of preachers, a lot of evangelists come through Freedom Village, and I know a lot of them, and gospel musicians, and so I think I have my finger on the pulse beat of some of the frustrations of the ministry. I'm hoping I've seen them all, but I'm not that foolish. I believe there's probably more coming. But I want to tell you today about a phenomenal, I mean phenomenal, honestly, in my opinion, the greatest business opportunity that I've ever seen for pastors. Now, there's a lot of things out there that people can do to make extra money, and there's a lot of things that are very reputable, but in all honesty, not doable by a pastor. They would run us afoul of our ministries, and God knows we don't need any reason for people to criticize us. They just seem to, that kind of comes with the turf. But this is a business of helps. This is the most timely, most unlimited, most doable business I've ever seen. And over these next few minutes, I'd like to whet your appetite, if I possibly can. And then if you are interested in pursuing further into more details, then what I'm going to do is break this thing up piece by piece and address some of the concerns more specifically, more in detail. Obviously, as pastors, we've got to, whatever we do can't embarrass us. It's got to be solid. It's got to be reputable. It's got to be honest, above reproach, and all of that type of stuff. And let me just tell you something. This is it. I'm not a novice at seeing these things, and I'll tell you why. As recently as this morning, I got another deal in the mail from one of my folks, and well-meaning people. But we have what I call the closet in my office, and that's where all of the vitamin deals go, and that's where all of the phone company deals go, and that's where all of the cleaning product deals go, and the buy a lot, let them rot group, as I call them. Because somewhere, believe me, somewhere out there in my radio audience or TV audience, there is someone who has the idea, well, if I just get Dr. Brothers in this, well, oh boy, I'll make a lot of money and whatever. And, for 31 years, I've been a master at just saying, no. So why would I get involved with prepaid legal? Number one, I got involved with prepaid legal because of the membership and because of the need today for this product. And let me just say, your people in your church need this protection. Pastor, I don't need to tell you that the world is raining down on families. It's raining down on children. And we live in a day when on any given day, somebody can make an anonymous complaint about any one of your church members. it can all break loose, and you know it. And parents are living in fear of this kind of stuff. And, well, they should, because there are a lot of atrocities taking place. And secondly, I believe that we owe it to our people. I think the ministry's changed, at least it has in my lifetime. And, you know, there were 50 years ago, we were not a money-driven society. Today, you just got to have it. You got to have it. I don't care how much faith you have. You still have to have that money to pay the gas bill or the you know, the heat and lights and rent and all of the things that attack our people. And downsizing is a word 5 years ago that wasn't in anybody's vocabulary. That today, I don't know a pastor that probably hasn't lost somebody out of their church who got downsized, and maybe the job they took, you know, was in another city and they had to move away. You know, and I know that somebody loses their job, and really that's how I wound up in this business. Is a dear lady that I love dearly from Kannapolis, North Carolina. The company went broke down there and laid off 4,800 people, and she and her husband got caught up in it, and he went from being a $48,000 a year engineer to pushing a broom in a public school for minimum wage, and it just destroyed him. It destroyed his manhood. You know, it just devastated that family. And, you know, they say that money is the number one cause of divorce. Now, we know it's a spiritual issue, no question about it. But the honest, simple truth is, you know and I know, that money can cause more stress. Number one cause of stress now, they say, is money in a family. And quite honestly, it's been there for me. It's been there for us when we started the ministry. And over the years, you know, my wife and I are on missionary support. We don't take a salary, and many of our people here are on missionary support. And you know, God's never failed us one time. But I can tell you that there's been those days where there's been tremendous strain. And then, you know, I can remember going back as a preacher's kid, and this was a long time ago, but my dad used to take churches when the Sunday morning offering went to the church and the Sunday night offering went to the pastor's family. And I can remember sitting there as a little kid watching that offering plate going by, looking at my sister and saying, you know, we're going to starve to death this week. Ain't no ways about it. And my dad would take a church, and, you know, somebody would, you know, say, well, now so-and-so will give you all the potatoes you can use, and somebody else will do this. And you know, I mean, it was kind of like a bartering system. And we lived in the parsonages, and sometimes, we won't go there. But anyways, worst whooping I ever got in my life was when I dumped 2 bushels of turnips over the back fence coming home from school. And the reason I did it, I just knew we were going to eat them. That was it. Whatever was on that front porch, we ate it. If it was potatoes, we ate them scalloped, mashed, boiled, you name it. And I knew we were going to eat those turnips. And everything was going cool until Sunday morning when Mrs. Camage asked my mother how she enjoyed the turnips. And big mouth sister of mine blew me in, and next thing you know, my britches were getting warm. But yeah, the honest, simple truth is, I love pastors. I love pastors. I love working with them, and I have found something that not only can bless the pastor's life with extra income, and that's whether you need an extra $500 a month or an extra $100,000 a year, whatever. And by the way, I'm not talking about something that's an if come maybe, and I'm not talking about something that's theory. I'm talking about something I'm doing. I'm doing this CD at the request of the founders of the company, Harlan and Shirley Stonecipher, wonderful Christian people. And by the way, they love pastors. They have a burden for the church. They have a burden for Christian folks of all kinds. They have a burden for pastors especially. And they asked me if I would do this because of the success we've had in this business already in just 9 months. And so I'm not talking about something that may happen. I'm talking about something I'm doing right now. And I'm talking about something that's blessing my people. I'm talking about something that's changing people's lives throughout our ministry. I'm talking about something that's providing an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for some of my staff. I'm talking about over 100 kids just now, and this is going to grow, but 100 children will be going into Christian schools this fall because their moms and dads took me up on this, got in this business, are now making enough money to put their kids in